In this video from Hexawise TV, we'll explain what mind maps are in the context of software testing, why software testers find mind maps quite useful to use, and how to generate them and import them into the Hexawise software test design tool. Let's start with what. This is a simple example of a mind map. It includes parameters that are included in a test plan, and for each of the parameters, the different values that might appear for that parameter in a given test case. It's also useful to describe what's not included in these mind maps. Hexawise generates lots of additional information. There's a list of things that are not included in these mind maps down below. Let's move to why people use mind maps. It's really used in two different settings. First, when you're brainstorming, collecting ideas, mind maps can be a very effective way to gather information quite quickly and help you organize those ideas about what should be tested in a nice, concise kind of a document. Second, when you're sharing the test ideas that you've developed for a test plan and you want that to be reviewed, you're soliciting feedback from subject matter experts, business analysts, whoever, having a one-page document that summarizes most of the major test ideas that you've considered can be an extremely effective way to get useful feedback, much more effective in many people's experience than handing a senior executive a big long document that they don't have time to review that individually lists out test cases. Let's now move to how these mind maps can be created. Let's first go to help.hexawise.com. That can answer a lot of those kind of questions, and then I'll give a quick demo as well. So whenever you have these kinds of questions, you can always go to help.hexawise.com and search for the appropriate term. In this case, if you search for mind map, you'll see that if you want to export your test conditions, your parameters and values into a mind map, you can go to the export button that you'll find here and most of the screens in Hexawise. And when you do that, you will see an option to export into a mind map. Once you've done that, you've got two choices. If you have a tool that reads OPML format mind maps, you can select an OPML file to be exported. If you don't have access to one of those tools, they're listed here in the export option, you can simply email yourself a mind map in a PDF file. So that's how you export the mind maps. We'll see an example of that in a minute. You can also import mind maps into Hexawise. Most mind maps will have only two values. Some will have more. I should say two levels. You typically see parameters and values. Some have up to four. If you have section headers in your plan, you can see a section header as well as parameters and values, and then expanded values as the fourth level. We'll see that in this next example. So now here we do have section headers in the plan. They're in all caps with just one value. And we also have expanded values in this plan. So now when we export this plan, we see a mind map with three different sections. Two of the sections are pretty small and straightforward. The section on the right with much more details has a lot more stuff, obviously. So when reviewing these mind maps now, if you're a subject matter expert, you've been given one of these, it's quite easy to look at the test ideas that have made their way into the plan. Here's an example of that. You see customer details, frequent flyer status. If the business analyst has just been in conversations that he's forgotten to tell you about, that sometimes happens, and he's aware that a platinum level frequent flyer status is just about to be added to the system, and he sees that that's not added into your test plan yet, it's a really nice, easy way to get at that kind of information, much easier than having that same business analyst dig through lists of individual test cases. That wraps up our discussion of mind maps. If you find this helpful, I'd encourage you to go to hexawise.tv for other instructional videos, as well as refer to some of the other informational sources listed there. And as always, we'd always appreciate any word-of-mouth recommendations that you might have about Hexawise for your colleagues. Thank you.